changed up his style, and I mean, he's exciting when he gets excited when he's exciting has those type of fights. But
Let me play devil's advocate just a scotch, and I don't really necessarily believe all this, but I kind of do. Don't you think there's kind of just as many dangerous guys in 145 that there are in 155?
oh yeah,
The name value's not there, but
Jose,
145 is dangerous.
have fun with Jose Aldo. Have fun with Frankie now.
Again, he's the best. But I mean, even like their lower end guys are still pretty dangerous. They're not as big in names. Right. But they're just as dangerous. If you can't finish fights, you can't knock guys out, and you can't tap them out, I don't care what weight class you go to.
Right. Eric Coach is the guy who was supposed to fight Aldo's at 145, and also Korean Zombie's still there. So, yeah, good luck. I mean, it's still an uphill
climb. That Korean
climb.
Zombie guy is going to – I love that guy. That guy is fucking fun.
Yeah.
So he's one of the ground guys who works on the ground and doesn't just lay there. There's a vast difference. And, Vito, I know you hate the guys that lay there and don't do anything. But there are the jiu-jitsu guys who do stuff on the ground are some of the most exciting – my favorite fighters, obviously, and can be really exciting. And I think, Teixeira is one of those guys. Korean Zombie's one of those guys. There was a guy in the undercard of the show 2 weeks ago, Gunnar Nelson, who I was very impressed by. Who's a top level ground guy who was fantastic on the ground. I was surprised when Matt Wyman beat Paul Sass, because Paul Sass is one of those guys, and that was one of the best ground fights in the UFC they've had in a long time.
And let me explain too. It's not so much that I just hate when they lay there. I'm an amateur wrestler first before anything, so I can appreciate working. I can appreciate finding a hold. I can appreciate submission. It's when they just literally just lay there, or there isn't anything happening.
And wrestlers, and there are wrestlers and jiu-jitsu guys who are both very guilty of that.
Yeah, I understand hip pressure, and I understand wearing a guy down a little bit. I understand all that, but I do think that they're stalling. Oh,
I think they should bring back, and I know they don't do the cards like they did in Pride, but one of the best parts of Pride is if a guy was stalling, they gave him a yellow card, and if you got a second yellow card or a red card, I forget what it was, you got 10% of your purse taken away.
Sure,
I love that. That's a great.
You want to make guys more exciting, make fights more exciting. Start affecting their money.
Exactly. Yep. Well, they try to do that with these fight bonuses, and it works to an extent. But I think you're right. You could take next steps to stop the boringness that seems to happen, especially in the higher level fights. When you get two guys that are like either if it's a title fight or right under a title fight, those guys get so tight and so nervous and so don't want to make a mistake that the fights always turn out boring. That John Dodson fight on this last show, that fight was boring as fuck. And John Dodson is an exciting guy. He's probably the fastest guy in UFC. Maybe Demetrius Johnson. We'll find out when they fight each other. But how can you have a boring fight with John Dodson? But it happens.
Yeah, and some guys just the styles clash for whatever reason, and yeah, it happens. I mean, you can never. That's the roll of the dice every time you watch MMA. It can be the greatest thing you've ever seen, or it can be a snooze fest, depending on what happens. And it's not necessarily the fighter's fault. Some guys just don't mesh well, or it's wherever they are in their career or that particular fight. So, that's the fun part of it, and also the downside.
Speaking of snooze fests, I'm sure because you watched it because you watch everything that is MMA. Batista, he debuted this weekend.
I'm story right now, Ben, and I knew you were going to say.
So did you see it? What it was a joke. I mean, come on, I can't believe anyone paid $30 for pay-per-view to watch him fight.
You would be an idiot if I watched it on someone put it up on a webpage or Facebook or something like that.
Of course, because why would you pay for that?
No, the whole show was garbage, and I know heavyweights. I know personally heavyweights that go to my school that would have kicked his ass. That guy he fought was a tomato can. He was like 21 and 21, weighed 300 pounds, and almost knocked him out.
That guy did get in there with some punches. I mean, his punches were garbage, but he did get in there.
Yeah, I didn't know the result when I was watching it, and I saw him hitting him, and Batista was going back, and I was like, oh, he might lose. For one of the guys that tried it, the wrestler, or you've had the guys come out who weren't MMA guys their whole careers or whatever, like a Herschel Walker, the Batista doing this, and he looked terrible. He probably should not try it again.
This is at least, and I'm not a Batista. I never watched Batista's run in WWE. I literally didn't watch WWE at that time, so I'm not sticking up for him. But I will say, every interview going into it, he did say, "Look, I'm not an MMA fighter.
I'm just doing this. I'm 43 years old.
I love the sport and I want to do it." So, arguably, that's if you paid $30 for that reason, then you're just an idiot. You know, I mean, come on, man, $30. I think they would have made a lot more money if they would have charged $9 or $4.99. You know, $30 with nothing on the undercard is ridiculous.
That's a lot to drop for a guy who's debuting as the main event.
Right, who's almost 50.
Right. Unbelievable. Well, Lockport Joe, thanks so much for joining us. We will talk again on the other side of this Anderson Silva Stephan Bonner. We'll find out who was right about this thing.
We will.
Thanks so much.
They step in the cage.
Yes,
right?
Absolutely. Thanks so much for joining us, man. And anytime, give us a call.
All right, see you, boys.
Hi, buddy. There you go.
Always brings it, Joe.
Yes, the knowledge, the MMA knowledge.
Yeah, so we'll see, man. I don't know. I like MMA, but like we talked about the other night, I like it on fast forward. That's the slowest fast forward possible, like that first knock. And you just kind of...
One speed, yeah. Because like on mine, you have 4 options. 1, 2, 3, and 4. You know,
right.
Spot. MMA on 1, especially when Joe Rogan and Mike Goldberg are not the announcers, is the absolute way to watch it.
Sure. And even over the years, I was a big, huge... I have to be on or I don't want to watch it. But even anymore, they're such like a... I think listening to Jim Ross, I've kind of heard it now. I don't really give a shit to hear their opinions because I think all of it's bullshit anyway until the guy going into the fight, the guy's the greatest fighter that ever breathed air. And then the next thing you know, he's the biggest jobber and we never should have bought this pay-per-view by the end of the fucking fight. So I'm kind of...
How did this guy make pay-per-view?
So it's kind of one of those deals. So yeah.
We didn't get a chance to talk to him, but did you hear about these guys getting arrested? And then the one guy... At the one guy, Dennis Hallman, he showed up, and they won't say
where. I don't know. Where?
UFC.
Okay.
He was supposed to fight on this last show, this UFC.
Okay.
FX,
got arrested in the venue?
The one guy, Jeremy Stevens.
Heathen Stevens.
Yes. He got arrested at the hotel the morning of his fight on a warrant from out of state, right? And it's like a mistaken identity thing. So and because they arrested him so late, he couldn't get out in time to fight.
But if it's mistaken identity and they went to all that trouble and sent people there to get the guy that's in the UFC.
Because even Dana at the time was saying, he was tweeting right as the show was starting, the fight was still going to happen, and then it never happened because he couldn't get out in time.
Sounds fishy.
Yeah, and then this other Dennis Hallman guy, they won't say what exactly, but they say he showed up in no shape to fight. And he was like 7 pounds overweight, and he has personal issues, and they cut him from his contract, paid him his money, paid him his full fight and win bonus.
Why'd they do that?
Because Dana White says it's the right thing to do, which means he's a drug addict.
Yeah.
And he didn't have any money, and he showed up fucked up, and they were like, oh, well, we're not letting you fight, but we feel bad for you, so we're still going to pay you. That's what it sounds like happened.
It's not just wrestling with the drugs, man. I think any professional sport's got drugs in it.
Yes, absolutely.
Majorly.
Come on. It's because at the very least, weed. You know what I mean? Like, football players smoke weed. I don't know if you know this or not. Like, athletes on their off time, they probably smoke weed because it's relaxing.
Of course, of course.
So, but yeah, no, MMA shin to chin. I can't wait. Oh, wow. But going ahead now here. I gotcha.
Yeah, sorry, I was Billy Gramming the show there.
Sal, come on, get the guests in order.
But that is cool. Like we say, I hate to keep popping up. I want to give the guy a little advertisement. This Thursday, Captain Atheist, the televangelist show. I know we're literally doing what we hate when we watch Raw, which is a recap of something we just heard 20 minutes ago. But yes, Billy Graham this week, Captain Atheist, whatever you want to call him. I'll never stop calling him Captain Atheist or Billy Graham. So.
All right. Why don't we take a little break and get things reset? I know we've got the top 5 countdown coming up. We've got the Piss It in Your Purse story. I think Sal's got another guest possibly lined up here. So we will be back. First break here. What do we got? We got a little Doug Stanhope. This was my pick for the week. Doug Stanhope, and on the back side of that, a new song from Juvenile. Yes, that Juvenile. He's back.
What was that song? What was that like big song? I got the beat.
Yeah,
wait a minute. We have a random call coming in.
A call coming in? We never get calls. The last one we got was from Germany.
Yeah, and for some reason, the name on this is Commander Ruff. Is it Rough Crossing by any chance?
No, it is Commander Ruff. Like the band Rough Me Up. Like this band Rough Me Up.
Wow. Well, we can see. pardon me, Commander, for a second. I have to explain to our listeners what we're seeing here. We have a wacky guy with a wacky hat and mask on. So this could be anybody.
Yeah, I don't know who you are, but you seem to have lots of time on your hands, Commander.
I have amazing amounts of time to put together this costume that keeps coming apart.
Is that a crow?
I'm here to talk about one thing and one thing only. Did you see that CM Punk last night? What an amazing backhand from CM Punk.
Wow.
That is possibly the best backhand in all the backhanded business that is pro wrestling. Yes, yes.
Well, I could tell that you are a fan of CM Punk. Did you go to his release where all of his family was there to view his release movie in Chicago this weekend?
The only release I want to talk about when it comes to CM Punk is the sweet release of his soul through that wretched tattooed body of his. Fuck that guy.
Wow, Commander.
Commander, not a fan. Rough me up. Somebody calling in randomly on Skype. We gave it out before. ITR Live. If you are out there, please call in and fuck around with us. We love this.
I do have 2,000
I
friends on Facebook.
reaffirm my boogeyman neck piece that I have here.
Wow. So obviously you saw that last night. The fan getting backhanded by the one and only CM Punk.
World champions.
World champion. Best in the world.
There's like 4 or 5 different angles of it so far. I think he hits the wrong guy. There's going to be a lawsuit.
Don't you think the guy's just going to get some WrestleMania tickets and everyone will be happy?
Oh, screw WrestleMania. Screw WrestleMania every year. And that idiot Jim Ross wobbling through like a stunted retard. Oh my God, this year WrestleMania is going to be the greatest WrestleMania of all time. Your mouth doesn't work, Ross. You have half of a mouth. Now listen. Each year you try to put over WrestleMania like it's the greatest thing of all time. Well, which one is the greatest one of all time? Is it this year's coming up? Is it last year's? Cut the bullshit, Ross. When both sides of your mouth work, then we, and by we I mean you, can talk.
I think we just found a new regular guest. Feel free to call in whenever, Commander. You have a lot to say. Anything else on the docket of Commander Ruff?
What else is sticking in your craw, sir?
I'll tell you what's sticking in my craw. That this ridiculous mask, although it hides my identity, I take 2 breaths and I can't see shit out of it is what's happening. I can't drink this coffee either. Christ's sake, what have I done?
Wow, that's fantastic.
Well, Commander, thank you so much for checking in. By all means, whenever we're on the air, feel free to check in if you're going to bring the hilarity like this, my friend.
I hope it was funny, but I'm dead serious. I'll see you next time.
Thank you, Commander.
Holy shit.
Holy shit.
It literally came up Commander Ruff.
R-U-F-F.
R-U-F-F. So I was assuming we were going to get a report from Ruff Crossing, and that was going to last about 10 seconds. We'd have to hang up on him.
Oh, my God. That was fucking great.
Yeah, that was fantastic. Hilarity ensues here on ITR.
Wow, I need to go take a call from Shawn Michaels and recover from that. So we're going to listen to a little Doug Stanhope and a little Juvenile here on In the Rotation.
He's smoking through this whole set. Because it's one of the loopholes in the law. They keep in the smoking beds, they keep, if it's part of a theatrical production, a loophole in the law because they don't want to fuck up some faggy Tennessee Williams production and ruin the integrity of the show. So they leave this fucking loophole open for me. If the cigarette bothers you because you're envious, vote next time. How about that? Vote. Yeah, every now and then. Figure out what the fuck's going on in your community. No, you don't vote. You got shit to do. Leave it to old people with breathing problems who will never come here. This whole fucking generation is so unbelievably sad. If you're just getting to like partying age, you're fucked. There's nothing going on in this country anymore. It's done. Last call. It's just a suck generation. It's the most boring fucking generation in the history of people. It's all dumbed down and watered. When's the last time you heard stories about rock and roll bands chucking TVs out of hotel windows or any of that shit that used to be fun? Like, there was fun in the world. Some of this is going to make me sound like a grumpy old fuck, and I am, but I have